Welcome to the Blueprints Podcast. I'm Isabelle Broidigam, Director of Marketing here at Custom Built Design and Modeling, and I'm joined today by Megan Simmons, Engagement Manager at Acme Home Exteriors. Really excited to have you here, Megan.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of change going on, in the world. There's economic unrest, there's, challenges with AI, and oftentimes we found that small businesses are faced with how do we keep up with all of this change, right? There's a lot of challenges there. So Megan, you and I both know the biggest thing though is how we show up, and how you show up can make all of the difference in that. So that's what I want to talk about with you today. Before we dive into that, I want to hear your story. Tell me a little bit more about who you are and how you got to where you're at today at Acme.
Yeah, thanks. So as far as me, I'm born and raised in Lansing.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Lansing community and Michigan has really been a roots area for me and where I've grown up. And how I met Dan, the owner of Acme, and how I ended up here is I actually met him about 8 years ago through networking.
Okay, of course. You're the networking queen.
Yes, we were in the same networking group. So I was able to see him every week. And you just get pulled your energy towards certain people. And I really valued him. I could tell that he was really using his business as a tool to impact people. And so that was really his passion and his drive. And then he just used his specialty and his talents in order to incorporate those things. And I really valued that and wanted to surround myself with that. And so, as I am older now, I've done many things. And in the end, I was teaching people how to network and be present in their community, but I was doing it over the US. And I really missed using my skill and impacting the community. And so Dan and I were talking back and forth, and I really just made the decision about a year or so ago to join Acme because it's really not just about what you do, but who you do it with. That really makes a huge difference.
Yes.
It allows your challenges to be fun and exciting. And it's just a different experience with work. And so it was just worth it for me to have a change of pace and to bring things back to my community. So I'm just excited to be here. And that's, in a nutshell, kind of how I landed into the lap of Acme as the engagement manager.
I love how you said that. You're in a nutshell, because there's so many things that brought you here today. And I love what you said too, just about, the work. It's really about who you're doing it with. And you and I both have that in common. And so really that makes all the difference. It makes you feel like it's not just a job, right? It's a place that you can actually bring who you are. So talk to me, Megan, about, there's a lot of changes going on in this world right now. And one of the big ones that you and I talk about, you do a lot of marketing for Acme, I do that for Custom Built as well, is AI. And so how are you seeing that shape and change your business today, what you guys are doing at Acme, and how do you incorporate that today?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's overwhelming and wonderful all at the same time, right? We have this amazing tool of AI, and everyone has a different feel about it. Some people are nervous about it. Some people are diving into it. And the truth is that it's growing and developing much faster than we can. So we can use it for a tool. And the people that have gotten overwhelmed, they're trying to encompass all of it all at once and use all of it, instead of those that are using it as a tool and figuring out, where do we need to delegate? Where do we have challenges? And how can we use this tool to help better us? But they're still the ones showing up. They're not, AI is not replacing them, but they are using it to up their level and their game of how efficient they are at what they're doing. And I think when you use it in that way, then you're still in control instead of feeling just completely taken over by the AI.
Yeah, that's so good. It's really about what you bring and how you, shape the tool. I've talked about that. You can input different things and get different answers. And so you can coach and train it. But at the end of the day, it's really the person, what you tell it to do, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so good, Megan. Just really practical tips for some people too, I think, as they're approaching AI. So with you and your background in networking, I think that's one of the biggest things you've probably brought to Acme is just your passion for people and your passion to see businesses come together and change communities. So what are some of the ways that you're bringing that to Acme today?
That's a really, really great question. There's lots of ways. I think a lot of it is being involved in your community. So I think as a business owner, you can kind of fall into the business day to day and the development. And so you are like, oh, this is a really great event and we want to take a part of it. So we're going to sponsor and we're going to be the sponsors. And so your logo's on things, but your team isn't there and you're not showing up. And I think that we are the benefit of the technology swing right now and AI and all of those developments is that people are really just striving to get those interactions and for people to show up and have those conversations and not just see the branding and see the logos, but not knowing the people. And so I think one way that we have been able to really make an impact is to try to figure out where can our community help us? Like, how can we help the best?
Yes.
And where should we invest in those relationships? And when we do choose to be a part of something, I think the biggest benefit is that we go all in. We're at the events, we're building the relationships, we're following up, we're nurturing those relationships. So we're not just showing up to these random events. We're figuring out strategically where we really can make the biggest impact and really focusing on how we can nurture that and give the most value in that process and not just write a check or just check another thing off the list that we were, involved in.
Right. And I think that's so key. And when I watch you do it so naturally. Like it's just ingrained in who you are. Like you're a natural communicator, natural leader. Like you naturally step up and you see a space that needs help. You always ask me at the end of our phone calls, what can I do to help you today? Which is so sweet. And so I think you do that naturally. How would you coach or, tell somebody they can do that if it's maybe not as natural and ingrained in who they are?
That's a really great question. It's hard when it is kind of a natural drive for you.
Yeah. I
think a lot of it is when you do decide to be involved in something and you're having these conversations with people. I think maybe try to just be intentional about the fact that it's not really about you knowing all the answers or for them to know everything about you and your business.
Yeah.
Make it a discovery of what it is that they need right now. Figure out more about them, discover about them or their organization or where their priorities are, where their pain points are. Because that way, when you do show up and you are presenting value, you really know what that looks like. If you're so focused on what your business is doing and what you're getting out of it, you're missing so much of the relationship. So you want people in the end of the day to be able to say, wow, they brought me a lot of value. They listened to me. They cared about where we were at and what we were doing. And that goes a long way for people. So I think you don't have to be necessarily great in conversation, or I tend to be a little bit on the spunky side, which I understand. And that's fun. And that
much fun.
And that is fun. And it's me. And that's who I am and how I show up. But sometimes it's the ones that are kind of introverted that bring a whole nother level of value because they're just such excellent listeners. And
this is true.
They have such good eye contact and people can read whether or not you're genuine. So it doesn't really matter if you're like the funky personality or if you're the quiet person or maybe statistics really matter to you or whatever. You come as you are. I think a lot of it is just being willing to be vulnerable, transparent, and just real with people. And that is where I think you're going to find yourself enjoying it more, is really just making it about them and a little bit less about yourself.
So good. That genuine piece. Yeah. I mean, you can always feel the difference in conversation when people truly bring themselves. So good.
Yeah.
Megan, this is so much fun. We need to do this again.
I would love it.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up today, I think one more thing I'd love to talk about is you recently did an event at Acme where you hosted a bunch of businesses. It was so much fun. I got to be there. Some of my team was there. But tell me about how you put that together, and will you do that again?
I will absolutely do that again. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And I think that was the biggest thing that made it fun for me, is the feedback from everybody. It was such a great time. So we were involved in a sponsorship event called Picklepalooza. And I don't know who hasn't played pickleball, but it's like such a trend right now.
Everybody's played it, right?
Yeah.
Or if they haven't, they should.
Right. And the person that was that was hosting the event was a dear friend of mine that I have built over the years. And so I want to support it. And so we're trying to think of creative ways to that we can help as far as Acme. We didn't want to just sponsor. Like I said, we really show up, right? So we sat and brainstormed these ideas, and it is a community event. And so there was a lot of sponsors and just a lot of moving parts. And so I thought, why don't we just bring all the professional networkers together and all the sponsors and everyone that's involved in coming in, and let's just all come together and just kind of celebrate and get kind of excited about this event. So we're talking about it, and to be able to give proper recognition, because it's so hard when you're running an event like that as a sponsor. You show up, you're involved, and then you leave. And sometimes you never even hear from any of those people. And so I didn't want people to walk away and feel that that we didn't honor and respect and recognize the people involved in making it happen. So one thing that's been really neat for Acme is that we have this new space, and we didn't have it before. And so it's allowed us to host. And so it was so much fun. We were able to think outside the box and get creative, and people had a great time. So
yeah, they did. You had a couple food trucks there, coffee cart. People played pickleball. It was so much fun.
I'm so glad you liked it. And I think that's another thing too, is when you think about hosting an event, or if you've ever considered hosting an event, right? You don't have to do it alone. It's almost better when I'm thinking about, well, we want food. Well, I can go and cater the food, sure. But like, why not have my friends that have a food truck, have them show up, because it promotes their business. And then we need some snacks, and then we need this and we need that. And if I know a business that could provide it, why not collaborate? And then we're all working on making it a great event together. And it's not just about Acme. And it's such a fun experience. And what a great way to bond and nurture those relationships that you have started by doing some collaborative events like that. It's just a great way for you to work together as a team.
So AI couldn't pull off an event like that, Megan, could it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
At least not at this point, right?
For sure.
Awesome. So I just think, as people are listening to this, one of the big things that you and I both have a heart for is impacting families. It's doing the little things that make a big difference. So what would you say are some ways that you have done that? And, AI is a tool, like we've talked about, there's different tools, but then there's the deeper impact. So how do you kind of bridge the gap between the tools and the impact?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the end of the day, AI is not going to go away, and it's an excellent tool. So use it. It will help you create maybe a really cool standout ad, or update your reels and figure out how to do all the things. And that's great, and have fun with AI. But what's really going to make an impact is not going to be the coolest ad. It's going to be the most impactful conversation. And I really believe that will always have more value over what you're going to produce with AI. So I think you need to have both. But as far as what's really going to make the impact and make the biggest value, it's going to be the conversation over the ad every single time.